You don't know what this man tells me? You know what he told me? He told me he didn't want to be in a relationship. You don't want to be in a relationship. But you don't want to be in a relationship.
See me poppin', I'm a blossom. I don't need a bottom to my ride. I'm official.
Hey pretty people, welcome to my pretty hearts and my pretty minds. Sit back, relax, and let me tell you a story about this one time. Alright, so if you didn't watch my last story time, go watch it. This is going to be the part 2 to meet me at the altar. We're getting married. Okay, so JoJo, in my last story time, I talked about a guy named JoJo. So go watch it. If you didn't watch it, go watch it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, y'all need to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna take a minute, moment of silence. Go like, comment, subscribe. Okay, go watch all the story times, like them, comment, subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so all right, so that weekend JoJo was off. When he came to see me, of course he was off. So that next weekend I wouldn't see him because the job he worked, he was off every other weekend. Okay, so next weekend came, I did not see him, but he was going to be off that Monday and that Tuesday. Now he was getting ready to go to a state trooper academy. So that Monday and that Tuesday, he had already told me that he had to be in Austin, Texas. So his cousin was going to go with him to Austin. He had mentioned to me like going with him, and you know, of course I was up for it, and I work hybrid, so it wouldn't really be like, I could do it if I wanted to. It wouldn't really be like a big deal or, you know, mess up my schedule or anything. So I want to say it was maybe like Sunday night he got off, and we were talking, and he was like talking to his cousin, and he and I were on the phone, and he was talking to his cousin, and his cousin was just kind of up and down about whether he was gonna go or not. And so he asked me, he was like, if he doesn't go, like, do you want to go? Is it too late for you to go? And like, we had already kind of talked about me going or whatever, so it wasn't, you know, I had kind of made the arrangement just in case it was a last minute thing. This was a Saturday night we were talking. I'm sorry. So that yeah, it was a Saturday night, and so I told him, yeah, I could go, but that Sunday, that next day, I had a hair appointment. I was getting braids, and so I had a hair appointment at like 9 a.m. and so he wanted to leave like really early, and I was telling him, well, you know, like, if I go with you, we're not gonna be able to leave until after my hair is braided, you know, until I'm done with my appointment. And so he was like, okay, that's fine or whatever. His cousin backed out. I end up going. So that next morning, Sunday comes. I'm getting my hair braided. He and I are texting, and he was just like, you know, I'm gonna head down, I'm gonna head to your house or whatever. And so I was getting my hair braided, and he was texting me, and he let me know when he made it. And he texted me, he was like, did you get my bench? And I was like, no. I was like, no, I'll cash app you, and then you can go get it, because all the stores like where he lived, they didn't have it. So I cash apped him. He went and got his bench, and then I sent him the address to where I was getting my hair done, and he came and got my key, because I was like, it's gonna be a while, so you can just chill at my house or whatever. Y'all, like, I was real comfortable with him. Like, this was moving fairly fast. I'd be delusional. But anyway, so he came and got my key. Of course, I was like super happy to see him, because he came and got my key, and he came back to my house. He was chilling, and so I'm still getting my hair braided, and we were just kind of texting like back and forth. And I think I didn't end up getting done to maybe about 3 or 4. And so Austin was going to be about a 9 to 10 hour drive, and so we didn't leave until about 5, I want to say, about 5. And so I finally get done, get my hair braided. I rush to the house, grab my bags, pack my bag, grab my bags, and we put everything in the car. I get my work stuff. We're on the highway. By this time, if we're taking a trip together, baby, like, we go together. We're in love. Like, what? I'm really like one of those people, like, I don't like to do things with people if they're not going to be around for a while, because I get like really attached to people and memories and stuff like that. But anyway, so we're on the highway, we're driving, excited. I had not told anybody really that I was gonna go, so last minute we already like an hour out, and I text my dad. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in Austin for the next 2 days. He was like, who are you with, and what are you like, what you going for? And I just kind of give him a rundown, whatever. And so anyway, we're driving, we're having a good time, we are vibing, we're listening to music, and like we're like super comfortable with each other at this point. So like nothing is uncomfortable, it's just great. So he drives for like the first maybe 6 hours or 7 hours or whatever, and I think I drove like the last three or four or whatever. And so we finally get to the hotel that we're gonna stay at. It was a really nice hotel. It was really nice. And so we get there, and it's about 2 in the morning. And so I had made sure to call to let them know that we were gonna be late or whatever like that. So we get there. It's like 2 in the morning. I think he had to be be like in the office or whatever by like 8 or something like that, and I had to be up working by 8:30. So we get in the room, we take showers, and we just like go to bed. We it just felt good, because Lord, y'all, that was a long drive, really long drive. But anyway, we take showers, we get relaxed, we get in bed, we out. The next morning comes, we wake up, and he had to be up a little bit earlier than me, so I got up and I went downstairs and I got us breakfast. But we both forgot that he couldn't eat until I got back with both of the plates, and I done struggled all the way up these stairs and up to this not the stairs, but struggled all across the lobby and into the elevator with these 2 plates and both of these drinks, and he couldn't even eat. But anyway, so he gets dressed and everything like that, and he is out of the door. He's out the door, and I set all my work stuff up. I get dressed for the day, start working. So he was probably gone for about 3-4 hours doing everything that he needed to do. And so he was kind of like just texting me on and off, like checking on me and stuff. And for whatever reason, y'all, when we were in that hotel, I don't know why I was kind of paranoid. But once he got back, I was like completely content. But while he was away, he was texting me, just checking on me and stuff, and I was just telling him I was working or whatever. And so he on his way back, he calls me. He was like, hey, I'm stopping to get something to eat. What you want? I think we ended up getting food from Whataburger, or it wasn't Whataburger. I can't remember where we got food from, but it was fast food. He bought us food back. And so when he got back, of course he was sleeping, and him being in the bed like just made me want to get in the bed too. So he get in the bed, he take a nap, and I had not took like my lunch break or whatever yet. So I clock out, take my little lunch break, I get in the bed, go to sleep with him. Y'all, we was out like a light. Like for a minute, I remember getting back up, clocking back in, and getting back in the bed. And the only reason I got back up is because my phone rang. Like my actual like my work phone rang or whatever. And so then I ended up clocking out or whatever, and we ended up going to Target. I wanted to go to Target. Y'all, I love Target. That is my favorite store. Favorite store. Love Target. And so we were getting ready to go out to get dinner later that night, and so we went to Target, and I picked up some stuff I probably didn't really need, because If you a Target girly, you know that you don't go in Target knowing what you need. Target tells you what you need, okay? That's exactly how that went. So anyway, we went to Target. Then we ended up going to get dinner from somewhere. And I was driving, and I ended up, the restaurant we decided to go to, I ended up missing my exit. And I was so frustrated because y'all, if y'all have ever driven in Texas, like, baby, if you miss an exit, you might as well just go home because, woo. Anyway, but I ended up missing an exit. Had to go all the way back around and whatever. Anyway, we get to the restaurant. We get food, and both of us are like really, like just really tired because ain't nobody been asleep for real. So anyway, we get back to the room. We go to bed. The next morning, we were gonna be there Monday and Tuesday. So the next morning, he gets up. He still has to go. He has to go back and do other stuff for, you know, training or whatnot. And so I get up, I work, and the day just proceeds. It goes on. So I think did we stay that night? Yeah, and so we were gonna leave. But anyway, he went to do everything that he needed to do, and I think he was probably done around like 11 or 12 or something like that. And so yeah, he was done like around 12. So I had checked out of the room, and I was sitting in the lobby. No, we got a late checkout. That's what it was. So it was about 12 when he got back, and I had got all our stuff together. And it was so funny because he was like, make sure you get everything, don't leave nothing. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm my wife, I'm gonna get everything because I got this. Delusional. But anyway, so you know, I got everything. And when he got back, I was clocking out because I had took a half a day for that day. I was clocking out. We get in the car, we are on the way home. And so we get back, and we, like, mind you now, like, he and I live 2 hours apart. So we come back to my house. We're driving. He probably drives like the first 5-6 hours or whatever. And I don't know what we did. One of us took a wrong exit or got lost or something, y'all, but we ended up adding a whole hour to that drive. He left, he drove us out of Texas, and I drove us back into Mississippi. So anyway, we probably get back to my house around like 2. And yeah, about 2 in the morning. And he had to be at work like that morning. And so he stayed at my house, and he probably got like a little nap, like 3-4 hour nap. And then he got up there next morning and he left. And I think I worked from home that day. So that was our whole little trip. Now, y'all, the conversations that he and I were having like throughout this whole trip, like in my mind, it was just like y'all, like, don't take a trip with me, because once we take a trip together, that is solid. We go together like real bad. We're getting married. There's no backing out of this. It's final. Okay. That is how that works in my mind. Okay, it's final. But anyway, that was that. So that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, so that weekend he was going to be off, and so that weekend he was also going to be moving into his new apartment. And so I was already kind of like expecting like I probably wouldn't see him because he was going to be moving, and then we had just been together for like 3-4 days. So I was telling myself that I was okay with not seeing him because I had just saw him. I was not okay. I indeed was not okay. So he called me like Friday, and he was like, okay, you know, I'm moving or whatever, so I don't know if I'm gonna see you tonight. And I was like, I know. I was like, yeah, I know, I figured. And he was like, what you mean you figured? I was like, because we was together for like 3 days. He was like, I don't want you to think like that. Like, that's not why. He was like, I just don't know what time I'm gonna get done. Y'all, when he was like, I don't want you to think like that, baby, let me tell you something. In my mind, you're my husband, okay? Because you care about my feelings. You're speaking to my heart, baby. We go together other big bad. And so anyway, he was like, I don't want you to think like that or whatever. So anyway, he gets done moving or doing whatever that he was gonna do. He gets done moving at least the majority of his stuff. And so he calls me and he was like, I'm on my way. Baby, at that point you had me sold, because you mean to tell me you gonna get up all day and move and you still gonna come see me? You still gonna drive 2 hours to come see me? Oh my God, I love you. What do you mean? We go together. Bad. And so anyway, I was so excited. And so he probably ended up getting here about 8. He got to my house about 8 or whatever. And we went and got pizza and we just chilled, just watched movies, hung out, talked and stuff for the night or whatever. And we ended up going to bed. So that next day, this is when I found out we weren't getting married. It broke my heart. So the next morning comes and I get up, I cook breakfast. We just lounging around the house because we weren't doing anything major. We was just chilling. I think we played a couple games. We like spent some time outside, all type of stuff like that. Nothing too major. It's probably like mid-afternoon, and we decided we're gonna get food. And so we ended up going to this place and we got these salads or whatever. We got salads, and so we came back and we were sitting in the living room eating. First we were sitting outside and it was just, ooh, baby, bugs was tearing us up. So we came in the house, we were sitting in the house and we were eating. And so y'all, I got these cards from my sister. Dang, what's these cards called? They're not skin deep. It's like this relationship game. And so it was like these cards, y'all. So we started pulling cards, asking each other questions and stuff like that. And so when we were pulling cards, of course, like the cards were like for people who had been in like long-term relationships. So of course we had to kind of like shift the questions to fit our situation. And so anyway, we got to one question, and I can't remember specifically what it was, but the question was basically something like was asking about a clear understanding of where our situation was headed. Y'all, do y'all know what this man tells me? I know he told me. He told me he didn't want to be in a relationship.
Too stunned to speak.
You don't want to be in a relationship. But you don't want to be in a relationship. All right. So I'm sitting there stunned. Like, what do you mean? But we're married. Like, what do you mean? Because like, y'all, the conversations that we were having, like like it was just given like full-fledged, like I'm ready for this, like we are, it just gave that. But he tells me he didn't want to be in a relationship, and he was basically saying, because he was going to be going, to the academy. He was like, I don't want to get in like a serious relationship, and then I have to leave for a long time, and this, that, and so I understood him not wanting to like get in a for real relationship and then having to do the distance for real. So it was going to be, before he went to the academy, it was probably going to be like 5 months. And I was like, okay, well, if we continue to spend time like this over the next 5 months, I'm not gonna give a damn about none of this shit you talking about. We're gonna be together by choice or by force. So to keep that from happening, we're gonna have to like, slow it down or whatever. And he was like, so I told him, I was like, if you don't want to be in a relationship, I respect that, but we're gonna have to like kind of pull back on how much time we spend together, and like all that, because that's gonna confuse things. And so he was like, I understand that, but I don't want to he's like, I don't want things to change. I wasn't hearing none of that, because at this point you basically broke up with me. You basically done ended the relationship that never started. And y'all, when I tell y'all, to me, I think the relationships, the breakup of the relationships that you never got in, them hurt the most, okay? Because you had so much hope, and like your mind was just so set on it. But I'm gonna tell y'all something. After that man told me he didn't want to be in a relationship, and we sat there and had that little conversation, baby, I closed that little salad box. I went to my room, and baby, I just had to put on some little headphones, and I had to start journaling, because I felt so, like, I was so mad. Like, I felt so played, because I was like, what did you think this was gonna lead to, buddy boy? And I remember at one point he asked me, he was like, who do you think is going to say I love you first? If you don't want to be in a relationship, why would you be trying to get there, buddy? What you mean? Y'all, you talking about the way that I was just so frustrated. But so I was journaling, and he was like sitting in my bed watching TV, and I was journaling or whatever, and we're not really talking, because at this point I'm mad because you broke up with me, and I just did not see that coming. I didn't see it coming. And so I was journaling or whatever, and we ended up getting ready to go to bed, and I completely, like, baby, I turned the other way. Wasn't no cuddling, wasn't no touching, wasn't no none of that. Like, and y'all, I'm a really, like, clingy when I like you. Like, I love to cuddle. I like to be all up on you, in your skin. Like, okay? And he looked at me, and he was like, Telsa. He was like, you ain't touched me. Like, you're not gonna cuddle with me, you're not gonna kiss me, nothing. Like, at this point, my guy, you a op. You're a op. Don't touch me, and I'm not gonna touch you. You're a op. Sleeping in the bed with an enemy at this point, because what do you mean? Op. I was mad. And so I understood, though. Like, I was like, I understand, I'm grateful that you're telling me this now, and not like in 3 or 4 more months, because that would have been a problem. So anyway, we went to bed, and the next morning we woke up, and I cooked breakfast. I did my little thug thizzle, and I wasn't, nasty about it. I wasn't, I was cool. And he ended up getting ready to leave. We said our goodbyes or whatever like that. And at that point, I just kind of knew, like, like some things had to, like, shift or whatever. And so after that, we still continued to talk. Now, we ended up getting into it about something, probably about this relationship that he didn't want to be in, and how I was just frustrated. I don't know. But we got into it about something, and I ended up blocking him, because that's just how I act. That's just what I do. Like, I'm gonna block you. Like, that's just what I do. So we ended up getting into it about something, and I blocked him, and I was like, well, you're not finna offer me no situationship. I don't want that anyway, so whatever. And I was just like, it is what it is. Like, at this point, like, I kind of like wrote him off, because it's like, we're not gonna be in a relationship. We not finna be sitting here like being everything, like, acting like we're in a relationship, and not, and not even headed towards that. And I'm knowing you don't want that. So anyway, we ended up getting into it, and I blocked him about something. So we didn't talk for like a couple of weeks. I really feel like maybe at that time he kind of started to like switch up a little bit. Like the way he wouldn't call me as much anymore. That's where the arguments started. Before I blocked him, like, he just became like distant. Like, we wouldn't talk as much, which I couldn't even be too mad, because you know, I got a little distant too when I realized that we weren't gonna be in a relationship. So he wouldn't call as much, he wouldn't text as much, and that was really frustrating to me. But I'm like, you saying you don't want things to change, so it really did frustrate me a bit. So anyway, I ended up blocking him, and I didn't talk to him for maybe like 2 weeks or so. Y'all, when I say this man was on my mind heavy, like, usually when I block people, if I just block you and forget you on the block list and I don't ever gotta talk to you no more, like, I ain't gonna lie, like, the way I can detach sometimes can be a bit scary. But this man was on my mind heavy, and I was like, oh my God, probably because I thought we was married. That's my husband. Well, he was, I thought. So he was on my mind super heavy, so I unblocked him like a simp. I unblocked him and I FaceTimed him, and he answered, and we talked for a bit, and we like caught up, and it was just kind of like, you know, we picked up where we left off. But it still wasn't what it was. And so one day, one night, we had started back talking consistently though, you know, like, we knew it wasn't gonna be in a relationship, but at this point we was just still talking because we just were used to each other, like, we just enjoyed each other. So he texted me one night, and like one morning, and he was like, you know, I'm gonna call you when I get off, whatever. And I ended up going to like a revival that particular night, and he was like, I remember I was getting out of the revival, and at this revival, it was like 11 o'clock when I got out, and he had told me he was gonna call me, and I'm like, why you telling me he was gonna call me if you didn't? If you weren't gonna call me? He was like, man, please don't start that, don't start tripping, this, that, that. I was like, it's 11 o'clock, you're not about to call me. So yeah, we got into it about that, and because it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, you're not finna call me. And my thing was, I didn't like how you were gonna let it go unacknowledged, because like we were texting, but you had not called me. And at this point, like, I felt like he knew that I was up waiting on him to call me, because he knew I wanted to talk to him. Like, regardless of what it was, like, I still liked him a lot. But that was just me learning to, if it ain't gonna be if it ain't gonna, you know, be what I expect, if it's not gonna, you know, be what we both expect, then gotta let it go. But we ended up getting into it again, like, about something pretty petty. Like, at that point, we just weren't getting along anymore. I guess because, like, he didn't want the relationship to the time we spent together and all that type of stuff. He didn't want that to change, but I wasn't gonna allow it to be the same, because we wanted two different things. Like, I wasn't mad at him for not wanting a relationship, but I was also still gonna protect myself, because I can't allow us to spend this much time together knowing that is going to make me, like, more attached to you, knowing that you don't want a relationship. So I think, like, one time he had called me, like, a couple days later. I think I ended up blocking him after that incident, and then maybe like a week later I unblocked him again or something. And he called me at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and in my mind I'm like, why are you calling me at 1 o'clock in the morning? Like, it really kind of irritated me, because I'm like, why are you calling me at 1 a.m.? What's really going on? What's happening? And so yeah, that was pretty much the end of us. Sitting in that living room realizing that he didn't want a relationship. That was the end of that. And so yeah, we was pretty much done after that. But it was a cute little delusion while it lasted. Anyway, if you made it this far, if you are still watching the video, hopefully you enjoyed it. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next one.